Despite all the work and preparation done by the Mercedes F1 team for the 2023 racing season, they fall far behind their competitors during the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it appears that they are struggling to keep up with Aston Martin in the competitive order. This situation has raised some concerns and left the team with some tough decisions to make regarding their strategy moving forward. In response, Toto Wolff has announced that new changes will be implemented for the upcoming Grand Prix. The question remains, however, if these changes will be enough to make a difference and bring Mercedes back to the top of the pack. The Mercedes F1 team, known for their dominance in the sport, has been working tirelessly to change the design of their latest W13 car to handle the challenges of the 2023 racing season. However, the team's hope were quickly dashed after a disappointing first race at Bahrain Grand Prix, leaving both the team and their fans feeling disappointed and uncertain about their chances in the upcoming season. Even Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin was similarly blunt when describing the weekend's event, the race and the gap between the Silver Arrows and Red Bull, stating that it was a difficult Sunday and that the team clearly had a lot of work to do to come up with a plan and try to find improvements. He added that the overall grip of the car was missing, and on a high degradation track like the one in Bahrain, the drivers were limited in their ability to attack their rivals ahead. Despite the team's disappointment to start the season, recent news suggests that the car we've seen so far is just a prototype and big changes are on the way. During the previous season, the team had to contend with numerous problems such as porpoising, bottoming out, excessive drag, and strange behavior when turning. To deal with these issues, the team had to build a strong foundation for their aerodynamic package. The W14 Proto is the team's solution to these problems, and it promises to be a significant improvement over the W13. The new car is expected to have improved aerodynamics, a more efficient power unit, and a more robust suspension system that will enable it to tackle the challenges of the 2023 racing season. The team has been working tirelessly to refine the design of the car, taking feedback from drivers and engineers alike to ensure that it is as competitive as possible. While it may be too early to predict the success of the W14, the Mercedes F1 team has a long-standing reputation for innovation and excellence in the sport, and they are determined to deliver a car that can compete at the highest level. With big changes on the horizon, fans can look forward to an exciting and competitive season ahead as the team works to reclaim their place at the top of the podium. According to the recent reports, the Mercedes F1 team has taken steps to address the issues that plagued their W13 car during the previous season, such as porpoising, bottoming out, and excessive drag. The solution came in the form of the W14 Proto, which provides a mechanically sound foundation that eliminates bottoming out and drag issues. However, the team still had to focus on improving the power unit's reliability and efficiency to use stricter engine maps during races and keep up with their competitors. To achieve this, the new frame was made lighter to enhance the car's overall performance. The team also made a strategic decision to skip the initial races of the season, allowing them to gather data and make improvements to the W14 before bringing it to the track with its new aerodynamic package. This package is expected to be unveiled in April, possibly during the Baku Grand Prix. The hope is that these changes will help the team close the gap with their rivals and improve the car's performance in the upcoming races. While all this shows a new path for 2024 and beyond, Mercedes hasn't yet looked at what it can do this season. A lot of work has gone into making the W14 better, and it will get a new side part from Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Wolff has given hints that the team may need to take a completely different path. Wolff says because of cost limits, the team won't be able to work on improving the W14 and making a new B-Specs concept for later in this campaign. Instead, the team will have to decide which way to go. Asked about the difficulties of developing a completely new design below the cost ceiling, Wolff said, "It is extremely difficult to catch up on such a lead, but we have to do it. We have no choice. I'm not sure if the budget cap constrains us, but we have to decide which direction we're going in and commit all resources to it. We're developing another car. The only question is which car." Wolff already knows that the Imola upgrade, which is only expected to add 2 or 3/10 of a second, won't be enough to put Mercedes at the top of the grid, so he's sure that big decision needs to be made. Now, instead of putting it off, we're going to tackle it straight away, because if you look at where we were at the end of the season, it seemed like we had a lot of catching up to do. He said, "We have to look at everything in between the Ferrari and the Aston, not just a sideshow." However, what Aston Martin was able to achieve is good inspiration, as they come back from 2 seconds down on the second fastest team, and we're all bad. The single lap pace is still good, but in the race we saw the consequences. To put it bluntly, we lacked downforce. The tires were slipping and we were going backwards. Despite their early struggles, Mercedes remained determined to compete at the highest level and challenge for race wins. What wasn't mentioned, however, was the timescale. We can see Mercedes developing a winning car by the end of the season from such a deficit, but if the rumors are true that Mercedes is bringing back James Allison to help them, maybe they will. Even Russell admitted Mercedes' regression was a big blow just when the team was hopeful that mandated 15mm floor for 2023 would allow it to design a concept to show its true potential. We're not going to beat around the bush. Of course, it's a big blow for all of us. He said, "We're a long way behind where we want to be." I think the only positive to take away from all of this at this moment is that there is no fundamental problem with the car other than its laking downforce. And as silly as that sounds, that's probably one of the easiest problems to solve. If you compare it to this time last year, we've gone from the car that was bouncing around the most to the car that's probably bouncing around the least. Perhaps with the regulation changes, we've just gone a step too conservative in that regard, and maybe we need to go back a few steps to gain some cheap downforce. However, Russell doesn't believe abandoning Mercedes' minimalist sidepod design for that of Red Bull's concept is suddenly going to turn around the team's fortunes, as the floor is a much bigger contributor to performance. So now what? Well, first of all, it's important to note that Mercedes didn't suddenly realize they were in trouble during the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend. Wolff did say that different ideas are already being looked at, and that it's clear that after being stuck on the current car idea for so long, it's time to change the perspective, as Wolff put it. What does this mean for the 2023 season? Realistically, it's too early to completely write off Mercedes, but it's hard to see how they can make such a big changes to the car and then improve it to beat Red Bull in a time frame that lets them compete for the championship. The team has already dropped a few hints that it might be willing to sacrifice this season to make sure it's on the money for 2024. Russell has hinted at this course of action, and Wolff has said that the most important thing is to fix its problem since the regulations still have 3 more years to go. To make matters worse, Aston Martin, which uses the Mercedes wind tunnel, power unit, gearbox and rear suspension, had the second best car in Bahrain, with Fernando Alonso coming in third. While Wolff focuses on the gap to Red Bull, Aston Martin's performance shows that going in a more traditional direction can lead to a better result. Also, it shows that the mechanical platform is in a good shape. So the question now is how quickly and how Mercedes can turn things around. Last year, it had a specific problem to fix, but this year, it just didn't follow what you could call the normal steps for making a car. Instead, the problem has to do with how it was made in Brackley. If Mercedes want to go back on track this year, they need to find that weakness, fix it, and then do more to improve than Red Bull. Wolff says that in the 21st century, there are no silver bullets, but Mercedes need to find one. It will be interesting to see what Mercedes can do to correct their mistakes. It indeed still too early, but the season is already well underway, and they do not have all the time in the world left like they do in pre-season. The pressure is mounting out for the 8-time Constructors title winners. Will they deliver? We are yet to see. What do you think? Can Mercedes find their way after a dramatic start? Or should they really scarf this season and focus on 2024?